All right, a week from today, we should know. That is when it's looking like the Senate is going to commit to a vote on Neil Gorsuch to be the next Supreme Court Justice of the United States. Now, two Democrats have already indicated they will vote for him. Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota. In fact, it was Senator Heitkamp who said, despite the friction over the whole Merrick Garland treatment during the Obama administration, I was taught that two wrongs don't make a right. There isn't a perfect judge, regardless of which party is in the White House. The U.S. Supreme Court should be above politics. Enter Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy on what he makes of that sentiment and whether other Democrats, he's a Republican, I should remind you, will follow suit. What do you think, Senator?
You know, I think at least a few will. Hard to think that Michael Bennet from Colorado, where Neil Gorsuch is from, would not vote to support. Clearly, this is partisan politics. Jurists and attorneys, lawyers from across the political spectrum endorse Gorsuch. So the fact that folks would not, I agree with Senator Heitkamp, it'll be partisan politics. Two wrongs don't make a right. If you perceive Merrick Garland as being a wrong, I think we need to go forward.
All right. In that case, and you don't have enough of the Democratic votes, a simple majority will do?
Yeah, clearly what you are alluding to is, do we make a rule, change it from the current rule being 60 votes are required to make it only 51 votes. Right. Clarence Thomas was approved 52 to 48. And so it's been a relatively recent innovation that 60 votes were required. Nobody was more controversial than Clarence Thomas. And it was actually Chuck Schumer that introduced the rule that made it a threshold of 60, and that's again
No, you're right about that. No, actually, Senator, you're right on the money there. And Chuck Schumer, I think, I'm not playing politics, but I think he's boxed himself into a corner on this. It didn't look like he was going to push the 60 thing. I think now he is, and there's no way to retrieve himself from that corner. So that's why you're not getting more Democrats coming out, because they don't know what to do. They don't know what the real marching orders are.
Well, Chuck Schumer is obviously lining up his crew to go in lockstep. Now, whether or not we should hold the Supreme Court of the United States hostage to Senator Schumer's vision of how partisan politics should be played, I think no. We need to have a Supreme Court. We need to have a constitutional third branch of government fully staffed. And again, Chuck Schumer kowtowing to the far left should not be dictating how senators vote.
Do you ever have any regrets? A lot of the Democrats, Senator, go back to the Merrick Garland treatment, saying that Mitch McConnell never even allowed an up or down vote on his nomination. And since you had the majority anyway, you could have gone ahead and shot it down, but at least he would have been afforded that. What do you think of what they're saying? I mean, it's many months after the fact, but what do you make of that?
There is a difference between a sharply divided country 10 months or 8 months before an election in which they will decide the direction of our country. That's when Merrick Garland was nominated, allowing the American people to vote on the direction of the country. The American people voted. They wished it to go in a more conservative direction. So that was the last year of an 8-year term. This is the first year of a new president's term.
No, I understand that, and it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback with this stuff. But do you think that in retrospect, a lot of the ill will since that, and by the way, it goes on both sides, as you've accurately pointed out in the past, but that you probably would have had the numbers there to repudiate the judge, and then all of this stuff would be silly?
Yeah, I suppose. If it would have avoided a snit on the left, that would have been obviously a good thing for now. On the other hand, I'm not sure anything could avoid a snit.
There'd be another snit. Yeah. You might be right. You might be right.
Donald Trump irritates the left so much that they will make irrational decisions just because they're irritated by Donald Trump so much.
Well, by the way, he's apparently irritating some in your own parties. Right? I know you're a senator, and yet this caucus thing, and the Freedom Caucus angry some of the members at the president for fingering them for voting against the health care repeal and replace effort. What do you think of that, and how they argue the president is hurting his agenda by going after them?
It's the president's responsibility to overcome the inertia of an institution. And there's a lot of inertia right now. The president, by the way, when he ran for president, said he wanted to cover everyone, caring for those with pre-existing conditions and lower premiums. Dave Bratt was right. That last bill did not lower premiums. I will also say about millions of people would have lost their insurance. I didn't care for the last bill because I thought it betrayed candidate Trump's positions, but it certainly did not lower premiums.
All right. So if you had your druthers, you would have voted against it as well.
I think we can do a lot better than that bill.
Okay, so you think the second shot at this is going to work?
I don't know what the second shot will look like. If it looks like candidate Trump's pledges, we should work to fulfill those pledges and do it at the same time lowering premiums.
I think this tax cut thing is getting dragged way back. Am I wrong?
I think the tax cut thing is, but people overestimate the impact of last Friday's vote upon tax reform. Dave Camp, the previous chairman of Ways and Means before Paul Ryan was, actually came up with a plan that lowered corporate tax rates and individual tax rates and did it basically without touching Obamacare taxes. We can still do tax reform without the Obamacare pay-for.
I think that's why I don't know why some of your colleagues are revisiting the well here, but we'll see. Senator, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Neil.